Hello and welcome you guys. So today I'm gonna be trying to battle the voice of my bird over there who's being super loud. So just bear with me. I'm gonna try to film a few videos today because I know that I'm gonna be busy next week. So then hopefully I can spread them out, keep you guys engaged, whatnot. And it's so hot today, I figured I would just, like whip out the palm trees, going for that vibe, I guess. Anyways, so this here is Hosta. I have several different types of Hostas. This here's like a cupped kind of blue Hosta. And it's a foliage plant that also produces flowers, so it's kind of like the best of both worlds. This here is about the size of a hosta that you should expect for like the average within the leaf size spectrum among hostas. So most hostas are around this size. I think this one's called Blue Lake or something like that. Not quite sure, but this here is kind of typical. So hostas are perennial in nature. They're quite reliable perennials. They're shade tolerant, extremely actually well growing in shade. So they're really good for like understory forest gardens and stuff like that. But they do tolerate, I find, a lot of direct sunlight as well, which a lot of people tend to not give them enough credit for. So hostas all emerge from the base via these shoots and they produce clumps. So this here is just what that looks like. I'll make a new video about this in the fall actually, I believe, which is the ideal time to divide hostas. And what you want to do is essentially, to propagate this, you want to get one single clump and you're going to want to get a trowel or a spade and just cut it right in half until you get one individual clump, at least one individual clump with a little bit of root material. And then that should regenerate for you next season. So there's so many different forms of hostas. I mean, I have a really nice variegated one right here. Just look at that color. I find the paler, kind of lighter ones tend to do much better if you want to plant them in a sunny spot. And I find as a rule of thumb, the darker, more bluish toned ones tend to enjoy shade a lot more. So hostas are long-lived. They're a traditional perennial plant. If left unkept, they get huge. They produce these massive clumps, and you can have hosta in one spot for up to 40 years. It's insane. So all hostas bloom, which is beautiful. I'll make an updated video on that too. And the bloom stalks are usually, as a general rule of thumb, the height from the ground to the the apex of the crown of the leaves times 2. So they're about this high. Usually they produce about, depending on the variety, 10 to 20 individual pink to white blooms on one stalk. Several of them will actually produce multiple stalks per individual eye in the clump. And I find that many of the larger leaf varieties tend to bloom better than the dwarf varieties. I find that they're quite susceptible to gastropod damage, so if you have like snail and slug problems, you're gonna get a little bit of that going on, but you know what? These guys grow so vigorously that they tend to outpace the gastropod damage and they tend to grow really quickly, and then you tend to not have so many issues with like holes or whatever in your leaves. So I just wanted to show you guys the diversity of different hostas. I have several different types in my garden. Quite proud of them this year. This one here is in its first year. It's just this kind of like really delicate one. I have a little bit of leaf break because when it was first coming out, I noticed I got a little bit of damage. Not sure from what. This one over here I have nestled in. This is more of a tropical vibe. This one here does exceptionally well. Pardon me, I'm not very good at like hosta variety names quite yet, but this one here I know does very well in full sun. This one's probably my favorite one. It has a really nice pale bridal white flower. It grows extremely quickly. This one's in its third year and I have to divide it. I find that with hostas it's best to divide them around once every second to third year because you want to give them some time to establish between divisions. This one over here I've neglected a bit. It's just kind of shoved in this little corner here. This is my first ever hosta. This one also does really well in full sun, but once again it prefers shade. I have some more hostas over there, but I just don't feel like going over there. This is another type of variegation in hosta. This one has more of a purple flower. This one blooms very profusely. Oh yeah, all hostas will bloom for you within the summer and early fall. I know some people have success with their hostas blooming them as early as May. Me personally, in this kind of shady area that I live in, it'll bloom more in like June, July, August. And they have really nice seed pods too. So I just wanted to show you, these are my little birds that don't want to shut up. They argue a lot. That's Snowy and Azul. They're kind of like my backyard mascots, I guess. They're really, really freaking annoying. Like, if you guys aren't familiar with having birds, I don't recommend them if you don't like sound. It's like a drill in your head, and like, save yourself the grief if you don't like noise. So these here are more of my hostas. This one's Komodo. I grew my largest hosta leaf this year, which was this one. Took a nice selfie next to that one there, but unfortunately it had a bit of rabbit damage, which is okay. This one here is almost kind of glossy in color. Have another one here. I just intermingle them with other perennial plants. Wouldn't recommend planting too much stuff underneath them as they tend to shade it out. And yeah, so that's just my intro to hostas. Wonderful foliage plant, very suitable for shady locations, and they're huge. Like, these plants are insane. And I find that they have a variety of different cold hardinesses depending on the type of hosta you're growing. Usually about -15, -20, so they're quite hardy. They like it a little bit dry, and yeah, divide them every 2 years and they'll pay dividends for you. Just wonderful focal points in the garden. So have a good one, you guys. Stay blessed, and thank you for watching. I really appreciate it.